Hey everybody, today I'm gonna show you how to make cool League of Legends videos like me, cause I'm cool.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
The first step to making any kind of gaming video is with your recording software. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna open up good old friend OBS Studio, that is. That's what I use to record. First, the thing that you want to do is you make a new scene. So I got mine here, it's called recording. And then you make a new source. So what we would do is you'd either use game capture or display capture. So use display capture, add an existing monitor. Bam. Now you can see the monitor. It's a window to hell. The next thing you're going to want to do is change the settings in OBS so that your video looks real nice. So first, what you want to do is go to the video tab. Make sure it's 1920 by 1080. I record at 60 frames per second, but 30 frames per second is also good too. It's personal preference pretty much. It makes it look different. So then you want to go to output and you want to go switch it from simple to advanced and then go to the recording tab. Make sure you've got 3 audio tracks selected. I'll explain why later. Pick your recording path and then set the rate control to CBR and put the bitrate at something high. You want a good bitrate. I use 25,000. And then set your CPU preset. Generally, very fast is good. I usually do ultra fast because my processor is a little bit older. Sometimes it can't do the very fast. So just experiment around and see what's good. The program will generally tell you when it's having a problem. Hey, this is me, Yakko editing in the future. I forgot to mention, in your output settings, make sure you're recording as MP4 and your encoder is X264. So after you have the recording settings set up, what you're gonna want to do is be able to separate your audio tracks, and there's 2 ways to do that. You can either use Voicemeeter Banana, which is the easier way, or you can use virtual audio cables, which is what I have set up. I don't even remember how to install this. I'll put links in the description of how to do both of these things. Because I do not know how to explain them, because I am a horrible teacher. Why am I making an editing tutorial then? What's the point? What you're gonna want to do is have most of your audio on your main cable or input or whatever it's called. Use Discord. You go in your fancy Discord settings and you change your output device to the other one. And when you do that, it makes sure that your Discord audio or whatever you use is separated from the rest of your computer. Once you have your audio separated, you're gonna want these 3 audio tracks, and you can go into your advanced audio properties. Make sure desktop audio is 1, desktop audio 2, or your Discord or whatever it is on 2, and your microphone on 3. You can rearrange them. The numbers don't really matter. You just want to make sure that they're separate. That is how you set up OBS. That is the first step, and the next step is getting your league footage. So, to do this, what you're going to want to do is use the League client's replay system, which kind of sucks. For a League replay to work, you have to be on the current patch, and it has to be within your last 20 games. So these ones are grayed out because they're on an old patch. So we're going to use this one. Once you do that, if it loads, which sometimes it won't load if you're using other programs, because there are other programs that you can use if you want to try to use older replays. One of the options is LOL Replay 2. I generally have that open, but sometimes it doesn't even record my replays. And making League YouTube videos is pure suffering. So once you're in the replay, it's like a spectator mode, and you can use all kinds of different key bindings, plus and minus to go faster, and you can switch who you're following. So let's follow me on Ezreal. You go into your hotkeys, and under interface, not camera control, because I'm an idiot, you go to show hide HUD. This is what you want, and you set a hotkey. Mine's F8, so that when you press it, this shit goes away. So let's say I got some kills here. You can go follow me, and you can turn off the HUD, and then you just press record, and it records your play. Oh, look at me. This is like the one game in the last week where I didn't feed. What else you're probably gonna wanna do is cinematics, which is what I generally get asked about the most out of everything. So what you want for that is a program called Skin Spotlight's Creator Suite. I'll link that in the description and most of the other stuff you need too. And then once all the thingies are green, because it's gotta be on the right patch, you wanna start disabling stuff like announcer, mouse outlines, HUD. You go to camera data, and you switch the camera mode from default to FPS. That's first person mode. And the controls for this are a little weird to get used to. You use the left mouse to look around, and you use the numpad, like 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 as like the directional buttons. And you can go into the hotkeys in the Creator Suite and change this however you want. So what you want to do now that you're in here is you want to actually make a blood offering to Riot Games, because half the time when you do this next step it'll just crash. So you go to the client hook tab and you want to inject the DLL. See, this time it worked because I did an extra big offering this morning to make sure that this would work. And then you go to Skybox and you set the Skybox. And what that does is it makes the sky look all pretty. So then, after that, you want to go into the miscellaneous options, and you can check these boxes right here, these 4, and it makes a lot of the trees and the outlines look smoother. You can get in there for your your sweet shot. And then after that, the last thing, which is purely optional, you don't have to do this, but generally I do it most of the time because it makes things look better. You can go to depth of field, and you can create it. Sometimes you have to toggle these off and on for it to work. So you make it full screen, then you set the focal distance. So let me move this out of the way a little bit. As you lower it, that's when an object is closer to the camera. So I put it at about 500 so that Ezreal's in focus and the background's out of focus. The other thing that you can do is you can go to hotkeys and you set hotkeys for keyframes. You want hotkeys generally for add and activate, which are the main 2. I have it on divide and multiply. You can add hotkeys to these ones too, and that would just make things go faster, which I should probably do because I'm really slow. Once you have your keyframes set up, what you can do is you can set a keyframe. You can kind of figure out where you want them to be. You can set another keyframe, so we can have it like go like that. That might actually go through the turret, but it doesn't really matter. You kind of back it up. And you fast forward to where you want it to start, right here, and then you press your play button, and I fucked it up. There you go. And then he walks, and you got a cool shot, and it looks real nice. And you can do all sorts of stuff with keyframes. You can change cool settings like this. You can make it tilt. I mean, you can get crazy. You can zoom out really far, or get really close in. And you kind of just have to experiment it. The more you play with it, the better you get. I was pretty crappy with the camera tool. Like if you look at something like Bard's Big Adventure, like my earliest montage, like a clip like this, versus like my newest stuff, like Report Zach, like a clip like this.
It's not how much you can lift.
Those are the general tips. There are places to go. I'll link a ton of stuff in the description. I know I keep saying that, but there are tons of resources to help you with this and other videos on how you can get more intricate with the camera tool. But that's just a general kind of intro to keyframes and cinematics. What's next? The other main thing is green screening. So for green screening, what you're gonna want to do, the green screen works several ways. One of them is against the wall here along the base. So what you're going to want to do is in that status settings where we didn't disable the environment, you disable the environment, and then as you can see, it's just nothing. I mean, there's a little frog right there. Generally, as you can see, there's nothing where the walls are. The turrets and the grass are still there, but here it's pretty empty, which is what you want. We're going to remove the skybox, and it worked. So you go to the sky tab and you set the sky color. We're gonna do green for green screen because Ezreal's only got a little bit of green. If there's like a green champion like Zach, I think I used pink. So you generally just want to use like an opposite color. And there you go. You have a green screen. Generally what I do is I'll like walk in front of the wall, stand out facing away from the wall, and just go through, cycle through all the emotes, you know, maybe use some abilities, do some cool stuff like that. And that is how you get the green screen clips. So now I'm gonna show you how to turn those tiny little clips into something cool. Okay, so the next thing is what I use to actually edit. To edit most of my stuff, I use Premiere. That is my main editing program. So for montages, what you're gonna wanna do is you import your files. So you figure out wherever they are. These are some files from Report Recon. So we're gonna pick something. So once you've got your clip in there, there's generally a couple things that I use to spice up my footage. But first, let's get some green screen clips. So let's go to the green screen, import some green screen footage I've got right here. And we'll do one of these. Find the bit that we want. Let's go with this one. He's looking real chill. Select what we want, put it in the sequence. And so we basically just have these two, right? So he gets the double kill, and then Recon shows up as the green screen. So you could do most of this in Premiere, but the way that I usually do things is in After Effects, so I'm going to show you how to do that. And what you're going to want to do is this magic button. This is one of the greatest things ever invented about the Adobe suite of programs. What you can do is you can select your clips, so multiple clips, multiple audio bits, and you can right click them, and you can click replace with After Effects composition. And what this does is it takes your clips, it selects them, and it takes everything you've selected, and it replaces it with a composition in the After Effects project that you have open. So now we've got that thing in After Effects, and any changes we make in After Effects will be applied to this bit right here in Premiere. One of the main things I do to make things look nice is motion blur. So you don't have to use this all the time, but if you want to use it sometimes, let's say that we want to zoom in right when Recon gets that sweet double kill. So we pick the spot, we put keyframes on scale and position, go forward just a little bit so it's quick, and then zoom in where we want to be. Then if you play that, it zooms. It's a little slow, so we're gonna move these keyframes closer together. So once you have this zoom, it can look pretty basic. It's very like just straight in. So what you can do is you can highlight your keyframes, and you can press F9 on your keyboard, and this makes them ease in a little bit more. It makes it a little bit smoother. And then the other thing you can do is you can click this circle thing called motion blur. So all these little circles, you turn it on your clip and you turn it on your composition, and it makes it blurry, so that when you watch it back, it's got a render. It looks really smooth. Let's say that after it zooms, we want to see Recon chilling out. What we'll do is we will apply key light. And there are multiple ways to do this. Another option is color key if you're working in Premiere, but I use key light in After Effects. So you go to the screen color, and you take the dropper and you select your color, and now it's green. And there are a lot of other settings you can tweak with. You can clip black, you can clip white. So his tail feathers are a little messed up, but for what we're working with, it's okay for now. We'll have him start down here, and we'll start the position stopwatch to start the keyframes. Move a little bit forward, move him up onto the screen. Hit the F9 to make the keyframe smooth, turn on the motion blur, and you've got a zoom. And he pops up, and he's chilling there. That's fancy, that's how I do my stuff. That is a basic thing for montages. The other bit is games with friends footage, which I put in my montages and I do individual videos for.
Oh no.
Oh, fuck! I was on my phone! So there's me dying. So we'll take that clip right there. That's a funny clip. and we will take out the part that we want and we put it in. Make sure that in your sequence, like I just messed up, you have all 3 of these audio track bits enabled on the side. So it will actually import 3 audio tracks into your sequence. Come on.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set.
If you Alt left click, you can select specific audio tracks instead of the entire thing. So let's say that here. Fuck! I was on my phone! My voice is too loud. So you can select it and go to audio gain and change the amount. So let's give it like -4. So now it should be more balanced with everyone else.
No.
Oh fuck! I was on my phone! So you can kind of change the audio, or if you want the game audio to be quieter, you can also change that. So if you want it to be more of just a talking kind of video and you don't care about the game sound as much, you can just turn that down. And what you can even do is you can also then edit around the audio so that like people don't stop talking. So you can, you know, cut with the razor tool. I use B as my hotkey. You can move things around so that like I don't talk over people. So you could do something like this.
No.
Oh fuck! I was on my phone!
What the hell am
I was popping my thing.
There you go. So that is why you record multiple audio tracks, because it gives you a lot of freedom to mess around with the audio, you know, rearrange things, make timings of things better if in case someone interrupts someone else or something's too loud. You can always change that too, and that's super nice for games with friends. So I hope that was helpful, and now I'm going to answer some questions about how I did more specific things, how I find things for editing, and you know, how I put my montages together. I asked these questions on my Discord, and so I'm gonna answer some of them to the best I can. Someone asked about the Persona 5 memes in the Galio video that looked like this.
You'll never see it coming. That's alright. You're done.
So what I did for those is I actually just did something really lazy. I kind of just went in and I looked up like Persona 5 UI, and I grabbed this and I motion tracked it. So you can look up, if you don't know how to do that in After Effects, I motion tracked Galio and I put it on him so it would look like that. For the one where it does the transition, where it stops and it scrolls, I just did that on my own. I sort of made a custom texture and then just made the video kind of loop on top of itself and move really fast. Generally the way that I learn all these things, I've been editing for a really long time, but a good rule of thumb, I guess, is if you don't know how to do something, you can sort of start to figure it out and, you know, just watch tutorials, watch as much as you can, learn as much as you can for these programs, and it really helps because the more you learn, the more you can start to figure out on yourself, and you need less tutorials. And when you watch a tutorial or you do something over and over and over again, it becomes second nature, and you can start putting it into other things and, you know, mixing and matching and making all sorts of stuff without having to look up how to do everything. For Report Zach, the part where he mimics Roadhog and he pulls the camera towards him, that's just keyframing. But what you can do, you can go to your camera settings for your keyframes, and you can use activate after first keyframe time and generate length from replay time. And what that will do is your keyframes will start at the moment in time that you start them at. And so, for example, in the Zach clip, as soon as the arm hits where the camera is, that's where the first keyframe is, and then the arm pulls back, and then the next keyframe is when the arm is pulled back, and that's a length generated from the replay time, so it will move at the exact perfect speed that you want it to without you having to like sit there and ready and like go. So that's generally like a basic guide on editing. If you have any other specific questions about how I did things in videos, you can ask them in the comments. I'll probably reply to a lot of comments. If you guys have questions on how I did specific effects, I'll explain them to the best of my knowledge. And that's about it for this video. So if you liked it, subscribe.